Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another manga discussion. We're doing Higurashi's Onikakushi chapter today, and these are the first of many Higurashi manga volumes that I'm going to be reading. As you can see on the right here, we've got all the answer arcs. On my floor, I've got all of the question arcs and Onisadashi as well. And these are the first of many. I'm coming in from a perspective of somebody who has read the visual novel and also watched the anime, so I know a lot about this series, and this is kind of just a means of me re-experiencing the plot, but in a different medium, really. And if I'm going to be honest, I really enjoyed these first parts of the manga, because what I did is I read the manga and I listened to the visual novel music, so you're kind of getting the best experience possible, because you see the story told in a different way, but at the same time you can hear the amazing music as well, and you can just re-experience. It's kind of like re-experiencing the visual novel, which Higurashi is probably still my favourite visual novel. It's just re-experiencing the visual novel while re-experiencing the manga, which I really liked. Now, onto the actual manga itself. This was a really good manga, if I'm going to be honest, and I think they have a very interesting art style. I think I actually prefer it to the one of the Umineko manga, I think, but they did so much in terms of not only making a really quite fun atmosphere in the beginning and making everything really quite detailed, but then the horror. The horror's done so well as well. Now, if I'm going to be honest, I wish there was a bit more gore in this, but at the same time, I think the facial expressions as well, I mean, that is the one thing that I think the anime and the manga excel at, whereas obviously the visual novel, it doesn't do the best. That's more for you to imagine in the visual novel. But the facial expressions are done so well, and I think I'll show you my favourite one real quick. It's not a particularly evil one, but this one of Mion here, I love that one so much when she is totally annoyed at Oishi for just completely ruining Keiichi's connection and trust within his friends. Oh my god, so right, from now on there's going to be spoilers for all of Higurashi, but holy shit, rereading this and knowing the answers and just being able to explain the plot, it's so fun, especially when you just notice things that you haven't noticed already. I mean, fucking hell, Oishi, for example, I never really noticed before just how truly evil he is. I think Oishi is actually, Hinamizawa Syndrome is the villain, but technically, I think Oishi is the villain of this chapter. Oishi and Keiichi's mind, to be honest, they are the villains. And my god, just seeing again for how awful it is for Keiichi, and just in general, his really understandable, but at the same time just absolutely just detestable mindset towards his friends, and just when they are trying to do the most for him, and obviously Keiichi sees it under the guise of being paranoid of it. Oh my god, that's the worst. I think it was really interesting. This is not something I saw in the visual novel or the anime. Of course not the anime, but when Rena, you know that scene where Keiichi just, so this is, I don't know how I can do this. Well, when Rena's fingers get trapped in between the doors and Keiichi pulls on me, he gets the latch of the door and he just totally gets the fingers crushed as much as possible, and then she has loads of injuries afterwards. I mean, my god, she literally said, I'm sorry my practical joke went too far, but obviously Keiichi is too stressed to realise. And if I'm going to be honest, I think if you probably couldn't tell, I fucking love Onikakushi. I think it's such a good story, and if I'm going to be honest, I think it's just genuinely classic. This is the story out of any story that I've read the most adaptations for. And look, I've never reread a story this much, to be honest, and it's just so cool because it really begins by telling you just what Higurashi is all about, and it shows you just how much of a difficult read this is going to be as well. And I am really excited for Watanagashi as well, because the thing is, I love Onikakushi's Ost, but at the same time there's a really small amount of it, and there's going to be more in Watanagashi, and also just in general being able to re-experience some of the great Ost, like Gear, for example. That's going to be awesome. And also the story in general. I am so excited to see Shion, and just in general see a lot of the brutality that goes on, especially in the next half, in the second half, and yeah, I think there's a lot to look forward to, especially the ending. But anyway, yeah, speaking of the ending, there was something really cool in the Onikakushi manga that I haven't seen in the visual novel. What we saw is when we were reading Keiichi's notes, you saw kind of like the aftermath here. So just from, well, what's on the bottom right, of Keiichi's parents being really quite bereaved, and then you see Rika and Satoko, and you just see how they have coped with it. I think that's a really subtle detail, but it's awesome. And yeah, what's really quite cool about this manga as well is I can't believe it. You begin the manga on this. I'm not even joking. This is the first volume. The first time you open your page, you get Angel Mort of everything. But yeah, you get coloured photos for the beginning of chapters, and you don't get tips like you'd get in the visual novel. You get these things called omakes, which are bonuses, and you get mini little they could either be a picture or maybe just a little story, like maybe 1 or 2 pages long. And sometimes they can be really quite funny. Sometimes, like in the later parts of the second volume of Onikakushi, they can kind of reinforce what's about to happen. I'll show you an example. Dude, finally found it. It took 10 years. But yeah, you got this omake here, for example, of Keiichi, and just kind of a little image that totally reinforces his descent to madness, really. And yeah, there's also a few that are of quite funny stories. For example, there's I'll just see if I can find. There's one where Keiichi dresses up as a cicada and tries to trap Satoko, but the thing is he can't because he has cicada hands and he can't well, he can't use the trap that he made. Getting sexy arc. Oh god. This is Hajisarashi and Mehagashi all over again. And Batakoishi as well. Let's just mention that abomination while we're here. But yeah, there's some cool little extra features. And if I'm going to be honest, I feel like what this manga does is it tells... I mean, there's so much in this story, but it really tells everything in the shortest way possible. And I think it's kind of sufficient, but at the same time it's not something I'm used to because the visual novel goes into so much more detail than the manga. But at the same time, I think it's so valuable just to see visual representations of stuff, and oh my god, just seeing how Keiichi perceives everything and seeing just so many changes in his facial expressions, and oh my god, it's really quite rough. Oh yeah, might as well show you this one here. Yeah. So I think out of all of the manga I've read, this is definitely one of my favourites, and yeah. Next we will be reading Watanagashi. And yeah, this is going to be really quite fun. It looks like it has a similar length to Onikakushi's manga, which kind of makes sense considering that the visual novel chapters do as well. But holy shit, if I'm going to be honest, I'm just waiting to Tatari Goroshi. Seriously, I'm so excited for Tatari Goroshi's manga. And yeah, that's the manga out of the question arc ones that I'm easily the most excited for. So I'm kind of reading these ones quicker so that I can get to it, because Tatari Goroshi is my favourite question arc and probably my second favourite chapter throughout the entire series. And if the manga can perfect what the visual novel did so well, oh my god, I'm very excited. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and honestly, I'm really happy I decided to do this in the end, and yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next manga review.